couple of years down the road, you live on a houseboat.
Okay. Where? Why? Why? Why am I on a houseboat?
You just kind of like sometimes you stay at a place for a while, but sometimes like, especially if you're in a mood, you can go from like port to port on your houseboat, docking here and there.
But
You're
like,
like
but where?
you're a
Where am I
face.
taking this houseboat? Like, where's this houseboat? You saying I'm going port to port on a
Yeah.
fucking houseboat
Well, yeah. Like your thing is
by the
you're
Pacific
like,
Ocean? What am I doing?
yeah, you're in the Pacific Ocean. Um, though sometimes you do come into more into like, rivers sometimes, or like lakes, but mostly the Pacific Ocean. And your thing is like, you go, I can't be tied down to just one port, you know, except when I'm literally tied down to a port, I guess. But
Yeah, you kind of have to tie
metaphorically,
yourself. Yeah,
yeah, everyone's like, yeah, we get it. But
this sucks.
so
I don't want to be this kind of person.
why not?
Because I don't want to have to. I don't want to be going port to port, occasionally into lakes or rivers. That means I got to get this fucking boat towed out, driven
Yeah.
across the country. Like that. What a fucking hassle
Yeah, dude. You live on a
on a
houseboat.
boat.
Yeah.
This
It's
sucks.
called it's called the Stugats.
Oh man.
So the reason that you started living on a houseboat is you were doing a gig at this
Yeah.
place called Snowfall Mountain Ski Resort.
Oh shit.
It was it's like a place where people go to, ski, obviously. Um,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes people they um what's the other thing? Where you like blading
Snowboard.
down. Yeah, snowboard. Some people
Okay.
snowboard, but you're kind of encouraged to ski.
Okay.
So they kind of have like an old world attitude towards snowboarders. But
Okay.
whatever.
Seems like
You're
the industry is kind of turned on that.
Yeah, but not at Snowfall Mountain Ski Resort. At Snowfall Mountain Ski Resort, it is always 18.99 as far as they're concerned. In terms of like the decor and stuff like that.
Okay.
There's obviously there's electricity and stuff like that, but they are kind of, and there's internet and stuff, but they're kind of annoyed that they have to have it. You can tell. But anyway, so you're doing a gig there. You were you're opening up for Bob Dylan.
Wow. Why? Why me?
You got real lucky.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so it turns out that
What's he? Is he playing
so
guitar or piano that night?
he's playing piano. Yeah.
Okay.
So it turns out that Michael Park, the door guy at the Velveeta Room, like
Yeah.
knows Bob Dylan. They're like
Of course.
he's like haven't seen him in person in quite some time, but we talk often. You were in a town, like doing some gigs and stuff, and you're talking to Michael. Um, you're talking about how like you can't stop farting. And he's like, just kind of like listening. And then he gets a phone call and he's like, he looks at it, he goes, 1 second, Aaron, it's Bob. Then he like flips open that he like kind of like flicks his wrist like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
opening like a pocket knife or whatever. And it
Sure.
opens up that flip phone from 2004 that he uses.
Wow. Still.
He looks at you, he goes, Dylan. He's like, hey, oh, you don't say. And he's like, wow, that's too bad. Then he looks over at you and he goes, actually, Bob, I'll call you back. He flicks it again and like the um the flip phone that he uses, like it clicks back into place and like he lets go of it. It kind of like travels like down his arm, down his sleeve. You know what I mean?
Wait, it retracts into his sleeve.
Yeah. He does like a cool
Wait,
move, and he
like he's
winks at you.
wearing some sort of device that allows him to slide his cell phone in and out of his sleeve.
Yeah.
God damn it, Michael.
He's like, he's like, Aaron, would you be interested in opening for Bob Dylan?
Yeah, of course. Jesus.
So Michael kind of sets it up. He gets 10%. Um, it ends up being you end up getting paid 17 large for it.
Holy shit. Wait,
Seven
17.
$17,000.
Damn. 17 large.
He's like, all right, Aaron, I talked you up. Kind of like, clearly saying, like, don't disappoint me,
Yeah, yeah.
what it is there's like a performance center at the or there's like a stage and shit at the Snowfall Mountain Ski Resort, and you're opening for Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is he's doing an evening of Black Sabbath covers.
On piano.
Well, he has a full band and stuff, but he's like it's called Black Sabbath, and then in parentheses Bob Dylan's version. And so he's like
Yeah.
so he's like so
God damn it.
and he's it's like Genvis gathered at the massive. It's like witches at black masses. You know how he sings. So
Yeah.
you're there and you open for him, and I guess like lately that's just like a thing that Bob Dylan's been doing on his never ending tour is he just has like just comics open for him, you know? And you go up and there's a lot of people there, and it actually ends up going really well, you
Yeah.
know, because you're kind of like, this is you didn't even have enough time to really process what was going on. Like as soon as Michael Park like confirmed with Bob Dylan's people, a you kind of like just heard from above like a thup, 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 and you kind of like look up and there's like a helicopter that lands on 6th Street, and
Yeah.
like this guy sticks his head out the window and like motions towards you, and Michael's like, "Have fun." And so you get taken there to the gig. And so you don't even have time to really process what's happening. And so you just kind of talk about that. You're like, guys, you don't understand. Like 45 minutes ago, I was on Dirty Six talking to Michael Park, and a few people in the crowd are like, oh, Michael Park. Like a few people seem to know who he is, you know?
Yeah. The guy's got friends everywhere.
And you're like, and now I'm here at this like, beautiful resort talking to you people. I don't even fucking know you people, you know? And so you kind of like
Yeah.
riff on that for a little bit, and it goes really well. And then you go at the end, you end your set, you're like, well, that's been my time. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been a lot of fun. Everyone starts clapping, and you're like, they instructed you to do the introduction for Bob Dylan. And so you're
Okay.
like, are you guys ready for the main event? They're like, yeah. And you go, oh, you ready for the host with the most? Everyone's like, yeah. Are you ready for the master of disaster? By this point, everyone's like, oh. These are all things that Bob Dylan's people like told you to say. And
Yeah.
so you're like, then please help me welcome Bob Dylan. And like he and his band come out, everyone's going crazy. He walks past you, he's like, good job. Like he's walking.
Mm. Bob Dylan is a fan of my comedy.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he
Well, that
he
feels
he
good.
saw it. Yeah, you only realize halfway through. You look like halfway through the set, you look over, and it's just like Bob Dylan in the wings, like looking at you, and you're like, "Holy
Mm.
shit!" And like you just turn
Yeah.
away. You're like, "This is too weird." So
Yeah, that would be odd.
you go backstage, and you end up talking to, you know, I guess what you and I would call the elite. You're backstage at a fucking Dylan concert. You're fucking like these people are like they're like millionaires and billionaires. Um, there's people like
Mm.
that. There's like titans of industry. Um, 3/4 of the Red Hot Chili Peppers are back there. Anthony Kiedis is missing,
What's he
but he
doing?
sends he sends his regards. He had he had league night. He had bowling league night,
Oh shit. Okay.
and
And he
he's like,
couldn't come to Dylan because of a league night.
yeah, he
Couldn't make
he's
it
he's
up. Couldn't.
the thing, because he was like, look, guys, I'd love to go, but I made a commitment to the league. I made a commitment to my team. You think that like they can just, they have busy schedules too. You know what I mean? They can't. This is their time to do it, and my team needs me. All right. They're like, all right. He ends up bowling an 89. He is not very good.
Oh man.
So you're backstage, and there's a couple like famous people that like you recognize, um, and but you're kind of like you just feel kind of like weirded out and like overwhelmed by the whole thing. You walk, you're kind of like walking. There's like they have like a bunch of like there's like a food station, like drinks and stuff like that. And you look over and they have like essentially Bob Dylan's writer, it says that they have to provide, like water and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
he has all kinds of other things. But one of the most important things on Bob Dylan's writer these days is endless shrimp. So there are like just tons of shrimp cocktail over there, just poking almost playfully
Come
out of
on.
the fucking ice. So you look over and you're like, I have got an appointment with that shrimp table. You walk over and you walk towards it with such confidence that like people actually like look up and see you and like, whoa, like get out of your way. They know that you
What?
are they know that you are a man on a mission. And that
And I'm
mission
just
is
gonna
shrimp.
barge through them otherwise.
Well, you're
If
not
they don't,
barging. You're yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
they're shocked at my presence and have to move out of the way. Whoa.
And as you walk past them, you hear at least one person go like, "Oh, is that the guy who knows Michael Parr?" And you're like, "What the fuck?" And so you keep walking. You get to the shrimp table, and the guy, there's like how they have the people who cut the roast beef or whatever underneath the heat
Right.
lamps at buffets or
Sure.
whatever. There's a guy there. They have a guy there serving the shrimp to you. Like he has like he sees you come and he just like fills that fucking plate up, dude. He knows what you're
Yeah.
about.
He sees me coming
Yeah.
and out of pure instinct, he fills my plate full of shrimp.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't request it. He just knows that I'm there for as many shrimp as they'll let me have.
You have it written all over your fucking face, dude.
God damn.
So you walk over, he hands you the plate, he smiles at you. You're like, "Thank you, sir." He's like, "The pleasure is mine."
He's French guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Francois Lieberman is his name.
Okay.
And so you're like, "Thank you, sir." He's like, "Uh-huh. Enchanté." So you like walk away. And you're focusing on your shrimp there for a little
Are
for a little
these
bit.
are these like do they have the tails on them still? Are they like have they already been peeled? They deveined? Like what's this how much work am I gonna have to put in on these?
You look down at those shrimp and there's not a vein to be seen, you know? Tails are gone.
Okay.
And they all like they curve her into like if you actually notice on your plate that like two of the shrimp are like touching head to tail and they have like formed a like perfect circle of shrimp.
Oh, like they're 69ing.
Kind of, yeah. But you look down at it and you're kind of like struck by like the symmetry. And so you look up and there's this woman standing there in front of you uh with this with a look that just leaves you almost breathless. You can breathe fine, but you're like, what if I couldn't? So the woman in front of you,
Fuck does that
she
mean?
has like gorgeous waist length hair.
It's long hair.
Yeah, and like in the sun in the not the sunlight, but the light of the of the Bob Dylan. They call it the Bob Dylan snack zone. That's what they call his like the craft services and stuff.
They
So
name it after him.
yeah. And so the light of the of Bob Dylan's snack zone, the woman's hair, it's a shade of red that like changes kind of in the light. And so you're kind of like struck by that. She's got like very clear like porcelain skin. And she is wearing a black dress. Now, this isn't necessarily like a tight dress or anything like that. It doesn't like, you know what I mean? It's not like showing anything off
Yeah.
necessarily, but
It's like a
you look,
sundress or something, or
it's a
something,
sundress, yeah.
a gown of some sort.
And it is jet black. And even though
Okay.
it's like a tastefully done black snow dress, for a moment you're like, you almost feel like you're in love with this woman.
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh, in your way. Sorry, sir." And she kind of like steps out of the way. She goes, "Hey, by the way, I loved your performance. That was really good." You're like you're kind of you're like you look down, you realize your like knees are almost knocking together. You know what I mean?
I'm holding a plate overflowing with shrimp.
And not a single one falls off.
I'm not worried about the shrimp falling off. This lady's
We
gonna
are
see me with a
little,
plate full of over 2 dozen shrimp, probably.
right? And she's like, "Yeah, that was like that was really cool, man. It's crazy that you have the guts to even get in front of people." She's like, "Oh, I'd be scared to death doing something like that." Um, anyway, enjoy your shrimp. It's very
Oh,
good today. She leans over and she goes, "And just between us two, I scarfed down 2 plates of these bad boys earlier."
I can never talk to this woman again.
She sticks out her hand. She's like, "By the way, the
God damn it.
name's the name's Lucy."
No.
You shake her hand and she goes, "Lucy Fur."
God damn Lucifer.
Your hands touch, and it's almost like you were inside, the Bob Dylan snack zone just a moment ago, and it's almost like you're transported like to just an entirely different place, and you feel like an entirely different time. You're in the Garden of Gethsemane, and you're seeing Christ like on his knees in the middle of the garden, just like realizing
Oh,
what his like fate's gonna be, that he's gonna be crucified on the cross at age 33. And he's like coming to terms with the fact, the human side of him, is coming to term with the fact that like he's going to die. You know what I mean? And it's going to be very painful. And he's actually so stressed out that he's like sweating blood, and it just pours, that holy blood just pours down his face, and it kind of like uh in droplets like hits the grass of the garden in every single spot that the Christ blood falls. Um, like unicorns are like born out of like the ground. The bloody sweat of Christ, it brings back unicorns just for a very brief, time period. And so you're and like and behind him in like the almost in like just blatant view, you know what I mean, in the middle of the sunlight is the same woman that you had shook hands with, and she is laughing and
Lucifer.
laughing.
Her name is Lucifer. Lucifer. It's Lucifer.
You snap back, you're kind of like, "Whoa, that was fucking weird." So
Yeah, it
you're
was
back at
fucking weird. I just had a vision where Christ was coming to grips with his reality and he was sweating blood. Unicorns are being brought back for a moment. And this person whose hand I'm currently shaking is just off to the side laughing at the Son of God.
you kind of like
Yeah.
kind of like come back and you're like, whoa, that was fucking weird. And
Yeah.
the woman's nowhere to be found. But
Right.
standing next to you is this like guy. It's kind of like this large Italian looking dude, and he's like, "Oh, is she like did you shake you shook her hand, right? Pretty weird, pretty weird stuff." And so you end up talking to this guy, and you end up he convinces like this guy also lives on a houseboat, and so he convinces you like he tells you about the houseboat life, about how you've got that port to port lifestyle that you feel like you've been almost dreaming of lately, like in a way, you know. And so he kind of like sells you on that, on the whole. He's like, you don't have to pay rent. Who you gonna pay? Poseidon. And so he like kind of convinces you of it. You actually end up buying his houseboat, the Stugatz, and
Yeah.
you're like, I'll take it. And he was like, what did you say? And you're like, I'll take it. And he's like, oh, so you're living on this houseboat,
Are you
and
fucking kidding me?
and you kind of have like, some you don't have to work as much because you don't have to like pay rent, you know what I mean? Because when you go
Yeah.
from port to port, it's not like you're not paying anybody, you know what I mean? You go there after dark. Like so it's technically, you're trespassing kind of. But you're never caught, dude.
Docking after dark.
So,
Mm.
you wake up one morning after another successful dock sesh, late night dock sesh, and you go to like you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the library today. You've kind of been on like a like a sci-fi fantasy type kick lately, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and so you go to the uh Lanalax libraries, and you go and you're kind of just like browsing around. Uh, you see some names, and they seem to have everything by everyone.
Okay.
In the background, you actually hear that Everclear song where they're like, "You try to be everything to
Everything to
everyone,"
everyone.
and you're like, "That's a coincidence." They have a lot of like kind of obscure books, alongside the famous ones.
Today's bestsellers.
Yeah, you're looking at the obscure stuff, and you're looking at the bestsellers of the 80s, the 90s, and today. That's the guarantee of Lanalax libraries.
Like it's a
So,
fucking radio station.
so you find this one, you stop on this one book, um, and it kind of catches your eye because it just says it just says by anonymous, and you're like, huh, what the hell? And you look at the title, and it's called Aaron Brooks in Space. You're like,
What the fuck?
so you're like, what? And you're kind of like, and you pull down the book and you open it, and you start reading the first chapter. And essentially, it is a sci-fi series about a guy named Aaron Brooks, and he's described as looking exactly like you. He has the exact same backstory too,
What's terrifying?
except in this one, you're like, you're known as the hero of Dupo. And the hero of Dupo in this series, it's like a sci-fi series. He kind of travels around from planet to planet, kicking ass, saving the day, smooching babes. It's like it's not necessarily like it's it's not like great, but it's definitely like passable sci-fi. And so you're like, what the fuck is this? What would you do?
I mean, I would try to read it, I guess. I mean, if it's my name from my hometown and it looks just like me.
Yeah, there's actually like illustrations, like very 70s esque, like sci-fi illustrations, but it's clearly you.
Well, I don't know. I don't. I look up the fucking author. I look to see who put this thing out.
Yeah,
Like, I would probably reach out to the author and go, "What the fuck is happening? This is me."
yeah. So you're kind of like shaken, and you go and you sit down with the book, and you look into it, and it's published by this publishing company that no longer exists,
Great.
called Cool Guy Books and Stamps. It's a company that published mostly sci-fi in the 70s, but also several books of stamps. And so you're like, well, that's whatever. And so you sit down, and it's like by anonymous. They're like, no one knows who wrote this series of books. And you're like, series of books, like what the hell? And then you turn it, and it says like, this is part of it says this is part of the quest for the Intergalactic Order of the Serpent. That's the series. And it's about this guy, Aaron Brooks from Dupo, traveling around. That's like the backstory. That's like those are like the main bad guys, in the book. And so and there's no information about this author. So you read the book, and like, yeah, it's like I said, it's okay. You think it kind of sucks. The character is always like he's always like fucking up. Like he always wins in the end, but almost every book, and it's like you start noticing it because like they have all the books there. Every single book will have at least one moment where your pants fall down and
Come
you're
on.
wearing white boxers with red hearts on them.
You fucking kidding me? Even in a book,
Yeah, it always at like very inopportune times.
this sucks. What's the copyright date on this?
Oh, you kind of look at it and you get the feeling that like I mean the publishing house doesn't even exist. Like it's you're like it's probably like public domain at this point. You know what I mean? No one has
Uh,
fucking registered this trademark in a very long time.
what's it say on like the page on the inside? Does it give
Oh,
like
it's
an actual copyright year?
yeah. It says good until
That's
1999.
that's no, that's what year the copyright? What year did it come out?
That's just what it says. And so you're like, it doesn't say what
It
year it
has an
came out.
expiration.
Yeah.
This fucking stupid shit.
So you're like, your head's kind of spinning and you don't really know what to do. So I'm just gonna fucking, go home. You fight through that LA traffic, get back to your houseboat, the Stugatz. You walk inside, and standing in front of you are several men.
The fuck?
And you're standing and you're kind of like, what? And you kind of like rub your eyes because you kind of can't believe what you're seeing in front of you. In front of you stands Mark Twain, Shakespeare,
You fucking kidding me?
Oscar Wilde, and
Nope.
Haruki Murakami. Mark Twain says, well, hello, Aaron. We are. Then they all say at the same time, except Haruki Murakami, who says it in Japanese. They say, the Literary Legion.
Oh God. Oh God. I was wondering what the name was gonna be. Turns out it was fucking terrible. There's
Oscar
four of
Wilde.
you.
Oscar Wilde, like, he like sits down and he's like, he has like his like hand up to his like forehead in like like the back of his hand on his forehead in like a dramatic fashion. He's like, Aaron, oh darling, don't worry, we're here to help you.
Man,
Uh,
just so many voices in this episode.
Murakami says like a bunch of stuff in Japanese. Mark Twain nods and he's like, Mark Twain goes on to translate like, what he said. And basically they're like,
Mark Twain speaks Japanese.
yeah,
Okay.
he goes on to tell you that the Lanalax Corporation has like been taking your life and putting it into these books. And they're like, look, they've been putting these out for a very long time. And it's been kind of an underground thing for a long time. There are people on the internet who were like a very small but very loud group of people, or not loud, passionate group of people, were very into this series.
You're into this.
They're into this. And they've been like pushing for years. They actually did a Kickstarter to like bring the books back into print because it's like, and like they're basically their thing is like, look, generations have read these books. They're really fucking weird. Like they're like, this it's about this guy in outer space, but like his heart is like he's always thinking about like Duplo, Illinois, and like relating, stuff that's happening to stuff that happened to him in Duplo, Illinois. And so they're pretty odd books to the general public. And so the Landless
Yeah.
Court,
It's my life as a spaceman.
yeah, and they're gonna reissue these books, get them back out there.
Who
Shake
is?
the Lanalax Corporation or the Lanalax Corporation, yeah, they like basically like funded the what do you call the
A
fundraiser?
Kickstarter.
Yeah, the Kickstarter secretly.
Well, I'm going to
And
talk to whoever's running it because it's my life.
Shakespeare's like, "Oi, bruv, this is what we're here to do, innit? Sauce then, governor."
God damn it.
So Mark Twain tells you that like the guy who is like the two guys who were like involved who did the Kickstarter, um, Donnie and Brendan, they basically they're like, look, you got to kill these guys. It's the only way. Because if these books get published, Aaron, if enough like people read these books, you will cease to exist. We have
How?
to
How the
stop.
fuck will I cease to exist? I just stop existing one day?
They're like, look, Oscar Wilde's like, Aaron, we don't have enough time to explain to you the
Well, you
ins and
can't tell me
outs
that
of
my
it.
choices are either kill two people or blip out of existence.
Yeah,
Are those my two options?
yeah, basically.
Well, then I'm gonna
Mark
need a little more fucking information. You can't just put that on me.
Mark Twain's like basically like Aaron, like we got to go. He's like, we can help you do this. We'll help you do this. Sorry.
Kill these two men.
Yeah. He goes, join the literary legion, and we'll give you the power to stop all this.
I'm not a fucking writer, let alone like one of the greatest writers of all time. Like I'm not that. I don't belong in the literary legion.
Haruki Murakami says something in Japanese. Mark Twain nods and he goes, he's seen some of the stuff you wrote. He says you're pretty good. And he goes, look, this is the only way that we can actually like stop this is if you, kill this person. Like you don't have to actually join us, but we'll help you do it. What do you do?
Like
They all put their hands out and and they all like, palm down.
I don't want to do either one of these things. I don't want to do either one of these. They both suck. Look, I loved Kafka on the Shore.
Sure.
The Mysterious Stranger is one of my favorite books of all time. But I'm not going to murder two people without an explanation of what's going to happen to me if I don't.
They're like, look, you're going to blip out of existence. Enough people are going to read these books, and you stop becoming a real person. You become like
That
this
makes no
fictional thing.
fucking sense. That makes no sense that it's going to physically remove me from existence.
Shakespeare's like, Roy. He goes, you know what else don't make no sense, governor? What's happening right now?
I'm not killing two people. I'm not killing two people.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably hallucinating or something is very wrong with me. This seems like a delusion. I'm not doing this. I'm not killing two people. I probably contact them first
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, here's this is me. I'm the hero of Dupo. You know, I'm the person that you're writing about.
Yeah.
And I've never done any of this cool shit. I am totally without merit. Like this, but it's me. It's just a version of me that's a spaceman.
Yeah. So do
Can we
you
not do this?
so you don't join the literary legion?
Fuck no, I don't join the literary legion.
So they all kind of like look at you like and they all look kind of like sad and they just fade away. And you're like, that's weird. You go out then so you like, you know, take out your phone to like you find that the Kickstarter, Donnie and Brendan, they live together and there's like a phone number and like an email address, you know, and you're looking at it and then suddenly you hear from above like, sorry I'm late to the
Are
meeting,
you fucking kidding
baby.
me?
A
I was
bolt of
waiting for
lightning
him. Are you fucking fuck
like
you?
streaks down to your houseboat and you're kind of like, what the fuck? And then standing in front of you is this guy, and he goes, hello, Aaron, it's me, a Chet Lightning. And you kind of go
Fuck
like,
you.
what? And you kind of like trip and fall backwards off of your boat, and you land in the water. And he goes, don't worry, baby, I got a helping hand for you. And he sticks out his hand and grabs you and like electrocutes you by accident
Are
because you're
you
in the
fucking
water.
kidding? God, I fucking hate Chet Lightning. I was so relieved when he wasn't part of the Legion, and now he shows up just to knock me off my boat and electrocute me in the water.
You are like barely alive. Like you're just kind of like there. You feel like a rotisserie chicken. You know what I mean? That's just like inside like Boston Market. That's just been like around and around and around. You know. And what the last thing that you hear before you die is him saying like, "Oh no," then you die.
Fuck you. Fuck
Sorry,
him.
Ellen.
I hate Chet Lightning.
The
Sucks.
um the books come out, the Kickstarter, you know, it's successful and stuff.
Yeah.
And within 13 years, your memory is like erased from everyone's mind. Anyone who ever knew you has forgotten about you.
Jesus Christ.
Sometimes like your loved ones will like have these like vague recollections of like doing like being like, yeah, you know, I just had this weird moment of like not quite deja vu, but like just like this weird almost memory of like going to McDonald's with like that space guy character. You know what I'm talking about? Did you read those books?
This
Ah, but
fucking
whatever.
sucks. Yeah, whatever. Fuck this.